everyone. So, just getting to the farm here. Gonna do a little hunting this weekend to see if we can get Kelly a deer for the freezer. Things should be interesting. We don't have as many deer as we have had the past few years, so hopefully we'll see if we can get her a doe early and then maybe get her a buck later in the season. Just so I don't catch too much grief for driving and recording at the same time. Here's basically what I'm looking at. Cruising on down, and this little piece of road right here is heaven for me. So we'll see what kind of adventures we can put together here over the next couple days, maybe a few laughs, and hopefully we can get some meat in the freezer for Kelly. Oh, looks like that owl's not too happy with me. We'll see how it goes. So, just got in, not fully unpacked yet, but hopefully I'll be able to get some hunting in tonight. I was able to come up last weekend, kind of get everything in order and preparation, but if anything has changed since last weekend, I might be spending tonight working rather than hunting. So I'm heading down to check everything out, check a couple cameras around the property, see what's kind of been working, and if all goes according to plan, I will be hunting this evening. Definitely a beautiful view up here. I'll turn this around and give everybody a look. So basically just give you a look around at the farm. All this was just hayed, but this is an area where a lot of deer have been crossing from the neighbor's place. We're actually right on the property line here. So with being at home, I don't have as much time as I used to be able to do the scouting and know exactly the deer that are always working the property. So the camera has definitely helped to let me know what's going on with our deer population, what exactly is working the property, and without being able to spend as much time up here, these little cards are invaluable. I mean, obviously we know that the deer are here, but it's just a matter of kind of being able to judge the herd's health and really what's going on. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to hunt tonight because I just got up here today, but I was able to get everything done and going to be able to see if we can chase a deer. The original plan was just get Kelly some meat in the freezer. I was going to try to harvest a doe early, but with checking some cameras and some other things, it looks like we have a decent buck working the area. So sorry, Kelly, plans are delayed. I'll see if I can get your doe by the end of the weekend, but as for right now, I'm going to see if I can get this buck. Right now it is hot. The Weather Channel says it's 89 degrees, and I'm unfortunately all dressed up in fleece and everything else. The reason for it is for the type of hunting I'm doing. Scent is really important, and this stuff has a carbon barrier built in that will pick up a lot of my stink. So anyway, we will see how this shakes out. I'm pretty excited for this. Okay, well, hunt number one in the books. It's gonna be a tough go. It is just so hot up here, and the moon is so bright that these deer are not moving until late. I decided to back out a little early this evening, just so that way I have a better chance tomorrow morning and tomorrow night. But even though I changed my plans and I'm chasing a big buck who I never saw this evening, even if I was trying to get a doe tonight, I wouldn't have been able to get Kelly anything as is. I don't know if you can see that far, but I just snuck up on this little fawn right behind the hay bales. Sorry, I'm just getting munched by the mosquitoes here. So, I was sneaking up behind these hay bales, See if there was anything out in the alfalfa. This cute little guy. And there he goes. It's probably one of those fawns that I bumped into earlier with his mama. Okay, well, really good hunt this morning. I didn't bump into that buck that I've been looking for, but encouraging, at least on the meat front. I did see some really good does that kind of fit the criteria that I'm looking for. So I just walked back to the house, and this is basically my bi-daily ritual when I'm up here doing this hunt. Every bit of what I'm doing during bow season revolves around smell. So all my clothes come out here, they stay out here all night, so they don't pick up any of the odors from the cooking in the house and anything else. This is kind of what I call my gentleman's hunt, because I have the availability to actually shower a couple times a day, descent before I go out in the field, descent all my clothes as good as possible. You're never going to be able to get rid of all your scent. As soon as I get all changed and maybe a bite to eat, we'll go take a tour of the farm. Maybe do a little foraging, see what we can round up, take home to Kelly in between trying to get this deer. It is hot today. There are definitely no deer moving midday. I was thinking of being headed back out to hunt about 6, but man, it might be 6:30. These deer are going to be moving all night. My evening hunt could be very well messed up because of this heat. I knew it was coming. But the other thing that we have is this wind. The wind keeps up, that'll definitely help me on my scent with the deer, but it's definitely the first time I've dealt with these temps during bow season. I've dealt with floods, I've hunted deer in a foot deep of water, I've dealt with snow, frost, all kinds of other stuff in this early season, first part of September, but never this warm. So, kind of break things up midday. A lot of times I'll get chores done and other things, but it's just a little bit too hot. So how about we take this tour and do a little foraging and see what else we can bring home for Kelly and her year. So a few years ago, we actually put a good percentage of the farm into a conservation easement. The main reason for that is a lot of it is floodplain, so there's nothing really we were going to do with it. We always wanted to make sure that we took care of the wildlife and the habitat up here, and a conservation easement was a good way to do it. Most of the property is ponds like this, basically a lot of open meadows, and then just sloughs all the way around, broken up by trees here and there. This is a great spot for waterfowl. We get a lot of ducks, we get a lot of geese. We're right in the central flyway. We also have pheasants down here. We've done our best to stock a bunch of quail over the years, a lot of bass, a lot of bluegill, catfish, and then we also get some runs of white bass, muskie, other things. There's that wind. That wind's going to be great when I'm hunting this afternoon because it's the right direction and it's hard. The deer will never smell me, but right now, oh buddy, it feels like a blast furnace. So every year, as part of the conservation easement, we actually hay a good percentage of the farm. The main reason for that is to keep down invasive species of plants, kind of like, well, Russian olive trees, kind of like a few of these that have survived back here behind me. Russian olives in this river bottom just take over everything. And years ago when we put it into an easement, I can't tell you how many Russian olives we took out. They suck a lot of water, they don't really contribute a lot down here, and they just kind of push out some of the more native species. The best way to hunt this down here, because it's a lot of water, a lot of muck. Right now we're dry just because of this heat, but you're never going to catch up to these whitetails in this thick stuff. So it's a matter of patience, it's a matter of waiting. You know, when I'm hunting the mountains, which is probably my favorite type of hunting, it is active. It is very, very cardio rich. Working all day, up and down mountains, spotting, stalking, a lot of glassing, but at least you're moving, and that's what I like to do. This type of hunt is different. It's a matter of sit down, shut up, and be in the right places, you know. Do your homework, do your scouting. If need be, put out your cameras. If you can't be out doing those things, figure out where the deer are going and try to cut them off on their way between their beds and where they get their food, or one of those type of places. So this type of hunting is more of a mental waiting game. It gets boring. I think it's actually harder on the body in some cases, just sitting. But a good percentage of the time, we're sitting in something like this. A very uncomfortable metal tree stand, just so we can get up above all these grasses and cattails and everything, and have a good view. Now, I don't spend all my time in the tree stand. If there's good deer working and they're not going to intercept me, I have no problem getting down and putting a stock on them. We still have the cornfields and the alfalfa and those things. Now you can see all of the damage to this field right down here, where things are just literally broken off. And this is not because of hail or any other weather condition. This is actually the wildlife just decimating our corn. It happens every single year. It goes all the way throughout it, and it's one of those things that, you know, if your focus is habitat and your focus is making your place better for wildlife, you're also going to get the repercussions of that with the deer and the elk coming in and just ravaging your crops. Nothing like our friends down in Texas that have to deal with the hogs or other species like that, but it is definitely significant, and it does take a chunk out of us every year, and it does hurt the bottom line. Well, with looking at the corn, I guess I will be joining the deer and elk in some ravaging in our cornfield, because this is getting nice and dry, and I think I'm going to take a few of these home to Kelly so she can run them through the grain mill. So, Kelly, this is coming off the bottom line too. Love you, babes. Hey friends, headed out on the third hunt of the trip. This is my second evening hunt. I'm headed out a bit later. It's currently 100 degrees, so it's going to be a tough hunt tonight. I passed some deer this morning because I'm looking for one special buck, but I don't know if he's going to show up. So if the right doe presents herself tonight, we might decide to fill the freezer for Kelly. Hey Kelly, does the teeny weeny beanie make my gymongous head look any bigger? Yeah. Love you, babes. Let's see how this hunt goes. Really, there was only one shooter deer tonight. It was a yearling. So she was too young to be bred last year, but I'm looking for something that has a little bit more meat for Kelly. I'm not sure if you can see these guys, but pack of coyotes just went by, two earlier, and then these two. Anyway, those coyotes that just went by, their timing cannot be any worse, especially with four of them. It's a little bit cooler this morning. It was a little overcast, and the hunting, it just wasn't gonna line up this morning. Have swirling winds. I mean, I've been getting busted left and right by deer. Finally, the wind laid down and cooperated for a little bit, so I did have the right doe come in. There were actually two, both of them without any fawns. One of them looks like it almost has like a scoliosis or something. I thought about taking her because she's not going to make the winter, but she was pretty thin due to her condition, and you know, if it was another year, I'd probably put her out of her misery, but Kelly needs some food. So got a good shot on this other doe, big healthy doe. I've backed out since I am bow hunting and just kind of letting things settle down a little bit. I did find first blood where she was standing. It looks like I have a good established blood trail. It should be pretty easy to follow, but just since it is still little cooler, have some time. This isn't like hunting at night. Last night, if I would have gotten a deer, it would have been very difficult with that meat. I mean, it was 100 degrees when I was in the stand, so we're just gonna hang out here for a bit. The wind is a little chilly, even though it's in the 60s, but I'm gonna shed some layers and kind of make this base camp and be very conservative about how quickly I go and look for that deer. Everything looked good, but there's always the question: did your broadhead expand properly? You know, everything goes down pretty quick. You never really know where your shot is, but like I said, everything is looking pretty good, and I've been doing this long enough that if I'm willing to put a shot out there, chances are it usually connects where it should. So fingers crossed, this is a very short, sweet track, and that deer is already down, and once we find her, then I'll go grab the mule and we'll start cutting meat. So probably next time I pick up will be when I start blood trailing this doe. So Kelly, you got your first meat for the freezer. I'll be chasing my buck later. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but those 4 coyotes that just ran by, and I told you their timing could not be any worse. They, with me waiting out that deer, those coyotes have basically gone to the same location. And if that deer is kind of taking her time passing, those coyotes are just gonna run her ragged, and that's not good. It makes her a lot more difficult to find. Meat, with the heat that's going to be coming pretty soon, it loses integrity. That is not good. That coyote is not doing me any favors whatsoever, and I know he's got 3 buddies with him also. So anyway, as you can tell, I'm not a coyote fan. I might have to get on this blood trail quicker than I wanted. So we'll see what's going on. Who knows? Maybe he's standing over my my dead doe and trying to get his buddies to come visit. But yeah, I wish those guys wouldn't have showed up this morning. Not cool. So I'm at the place that I shot her. I didn't range her because she was getting ready to bolt. The wind was starting to swirl, and but I had a pretty good idea. She was just about 20 yards. So just to show you, when I talk about a blood trail, this is the place where she got hit. I haven't taken any additional steps or anything beyond first blood. Now, since I'm hunting in a place where I have access to a house and I'm not really worried about carrying a bunch of weight, I stole a couple of Kelly's garden stakes to use out here. Now, if I was doing this in the backcountry on an elk hunt, mule deer hunt, anything else, I would have an arrow in my quiver, actually probably a couple arrows with field tips, and basically what I would do is just leapfrog these stakes one point to blood to the next point to blood, and so on. We're gonna hang out here for a little bit longer, and hopefully those coyotes are not running that deer. I might take a few steps just to see if I can find my arrow, but I really just want to take my time. But the amount of blood and the color of blood is encouraging. Hopefully the doe is down here close and will be patient. But this is what I'll be following. There goes that coyote again. If he is chasing this deer, I'm gonna be super upset. I hope this deer is just around the corner and that coyote isn't on it. Yeah, this is frustrating. 2 days with no coyotes. I get a deer that I need to just let settle down, and these guys show up. So I'm going to take a few more steps and kind of see what I'm working with just on the other side of this tree here, and I'll turn things back on when I get a better idea. Okay, so I'm on the other side of the tree, and I mean, this is what you want to see. I have all of these garden stakes that I got from Kelly, because a lot of times when you're following a blood trail, you're following just a minuscule drop, and you don't want to lose where that one is. And I mean, this blood trail is exactly what we want to see. It's very easy to follow, and I mean, I'm looking 10 feet in front of me and I can still see blood. So man, that coyote won't shut up. If he's hitting on my deer, we're gonna fight. With this much blood. So my arrow has to be somewhere behind me. And the reason why I say that is I had to have gotten a clear pass through. See blood on this side? Right here. And then you look over here. You see blood on this side? So that tells me this deer went through right here. So either she's still carrying that arrow, and I'll find it here in a little bit, or it could be back here in this long grass. So yeah, blood, 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 blood. I mean, this is exactly what you want to see, and I hope it keeps up. Now we're getting a little less blood here. If you look right here, you see it on that leaf? It's starting to dry up here. Just bump that. There, and there. Okay. It's not as easy right now. I can't see the next big splotch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark this. I have 4 stakes. Left one at first blood, but okay, never mind. This one's coming up too, because I can see back on the trail. I mean, if you don't know what you're looking for, that is literally the itty bitty little drops that I'm following. That size. So yeah, this coyote is not doing me any favors whatsoever. Ooh, okay. So this is interesting. A lot of times they'll stick to the trail, but okay. Now then, a little tiny bit of blood over here. A lot of these grasses out here, they get these little brown spots that can be confusing. So, got blood here. I'm marking this. Well, I can honestly say that this is the first blood trail that I've done with a coyote in tow. Oh, well guys, I wish there was more action, but this doe died immediately, and she made it 25 yards, 30 yards from where I got her. I didn't think she was going to make it very far because I didn't hear any crashing or anything else, but yeah, this this isn't Mark go find the deer. This is real action, and I mean I'm so busy looking at the darn ground to make sure I don't lose blood, because I've had some of these last super long. But yeah, this doe made it 30 yards, and she's going to be good eating. So let's check her out. Perfect shot. The coyote didn't get my deer before I did, and didn't run her. So anyway, she's a good looking deer, yearling deer, so she wasn't bred last fall. She's good and fat, and she will be a great eater for Kelly.